What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 DC Pops that I would like to see Funko make, and I was actually tagged to do this by Robert Kinzel. I will link his video down in the description so you could check that out and basically see how his list compares to mine. This is something I actually have addressed previously on my channel, but I thought it would be fun to do this again because I haven't done it in a while, and of course my list has changed some based on what Funko has actually produced. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. This is essentially going to be a top 10 most wanted list, and I'm not considering Zatanna part of that list, even though I really do like the character. But the reason I'm not putting her on my list necessarily is because I really think she is likely to happen within the next months, if the rumor pans out to be true. And I think the character has become popular enough and wanted enough by fans that Funko is paying attention because, she has appeared in animation, animated series, animated movies. She was a DLC character in the first Injustice game, and, a lot of cosplayers are into Zatanna. So, yeah, I just think it's very likely that it's going to happen, fingers crossed, and we'll find out here in the near future. As far as honorable mentions are concerned, I definitely want to shout out, the Dark Knight trilogy. Funko, of course, has done pops based off of these movies previously. They've done Batman, Joker, Catwoman, and Bane as well with his overcoat on. So there's a couple of pops based off of the movies, but I think there's definitely potential for more. I would love to see Scarecrow because I'm a big fan of Scarecrow, his different interpretations. And he would be a simple design, because he wears a suit basically, but I definitely do like the look of the mask, and he could be kind of dusted up too, like he's been getting kind of down and dirty and everything there. Joker and the nurse's outfit would be awesome as well. That's just a very popular scene. And I would like to see an updated version of Bane without the overcoat because I really like the look of the vest that he wears, especially in his fight scene with Batman, the first fight scene. So yeah, I don't know if Funko plans to do any more based off of that trilogy, but I would so be down for it if they did. I'm getting into my top 10 now, and I'm going to start off with the focus on Cyborg Superman. For one thing, I think he has just a very creepy look about him, especially since his face is just partially like Superman's, and then he has sort of that Terminator vibe going on with him. And thanks to the animated movie Reign of the Supermen, I learned more about his background. He's actually a very interesting character. He has a more intricate background than I expected. If you're very familiar with Superman and DC and you followed the original Doomsday story and the aftermath of that, then you may have already known his origin, but it was new to me, from that animated movie, and it just made me more interested in the character. And like I said, I really like the creepiness factor to him. And if Funko were to work with a Superman design that they already have as a jumping off point, I would completely understand that. But yeah, like I said, Cyborg Superman, I really just like him mainly for that creep factor that he has. Now with Shazam, of course, Funko did do the hero characters from that movie, but they did not do the villain, which is kind of a surprise to me. And I actually like, Dr. Savannah. I really thought he was a cool character. I thought Mark Strong did a good job portraying him. He wasn't as one note as some villains. I mean, he did seem, kind of absurdly evil at times, but still, I like the character overall, and it's just kind of surprising that Funko would focus on the heroes and not give us the villain. But, from the way that he dresses and the eye, of course, that he has, and the scar and all of that, and, they could put a magic effect along with him as well. Yeah, there's definitely potential there for a cool looking design. Now, Shade is a character, a villain that I learned about mainly thanks to the Justice League animated series. I thought he was a really cool villain on there. I like the look of the character, the top hat that he wears, the black outfits, and he was also on Justice League Unlimited, and he's been in Young Justice as well. He kind of gets treated like a villain of the week, unfortunately. I mean, there's not a ton of depth to the character, but I still like him when it comes down to it. And like I said, it's mainly about, the look that he has. I think is very unique and would make for a cool pop. Ragdoll is a character that I learned about thanks to the Secret Six storyline, and I've basically followed the majority of the Secret Six, and I didn't finish it out. I really need to go back and do that. But Ragdoll is just an interesting character because he's very dark and twisted, and literally twisted because he actually can contort his body in all sorts of crazy ways and use his body like a weapon. but then also he has this sort of dark sense of humor about him, but I think he's funny a lot of times when he's not even trying to be. You know, he's just a very twisted character, and I liked his outfit as well, especially the mask that he wears. The mask has that creepiness to it, and you know, if they were to do an unmasked version of him, that would be cool as well, to see him with the stitches in his face and all of that, because he's like sort of into body mutilation as well. Yeah, he's kind of a dark and twisted character, but he has that sense of humor to him as well. It probably would take him appearing in, you know, an animated series or animated movie or even in live action for him to get more attention to potentially have a pop figure. But regardless, if he ever did get produced, I would definitely be down with that. Next up here, Brainiac. Brainiac is just a major villain within the DC universe, you know, and especially for Superman and the Justice League. So yeah, it's kind of makes you wonder why we haven't seen Brainiac already, basically, you know, because he is such a major villain. And then there are so many different interpretations of the character, different looks for him, you know, from the comics to you know, in animation, of course, and then also, you know, the Injustice game series, you know, Injustice 2. So he has all these different very cool looks about him that, you know, Funko could choose from. And like I said, just such a major DC villain, it would be nice to see him. And speaking of major DC villains, Doomsday. Definitely got to bring up Doomsday here at number 5, because of course there is the Doomsday movie version, you know, from Batman versus Superman. I kind of pick at that figure. It's not a terrible figure though when it comes down to it, you know, and it is true to the movie, but I know some people did not like that design from the movie, even though as the fight went on, that action sequence, he started to look more like his comic book counterpart. Yeah, as he healed himself, you started to see more bones protruding and everything, but they did not take it to the level of the comic book. I really like the way he looks in the comics, you know, with the huge bones coming out of his skin, forming weapons, the white hair as well. I like the look of that. And of course, I think he should be a 6-inch figure, you know, still. That would be very cool to see. And if they could do a version of him with the hazmat suit on as well, you know, that hazmat suit he was in initially, that would be very cool to see as well. So yeah, a comic book accurate version of Doomsday, I think would be very much appreciated by DC fans. And then we're still on villains. I think you can tell already that I'm really into the DC villains, because I feel like, you know, the Justice League and those main superheroes, they get attention all the time. But I definitely want to see more attention on the villains, including here Atrocitus. And Atrocitus is another character, whether they go with the comic book design or maybe inspired by the Injustice game, you know, again, Injustice 2 to be you know, specific there. But yeah, Atrocitus just has a very cool look about him. Of course, he represents the Red Lanterns and Rage, you know, and I think it would be awesome as well if Dexstar came along with him, because Dexstar, I mean, obviously you look at him, he looks like a cat, but he's actually an alien creature that is highly intelligent, and they're often paired together. So I would really like to see them paired together, you know, if they did become Funko Pop figures. And then with Batman the Animated Series, of course, Funko has done 2 waves of figures based on that series, but there's still potential for more there, including one of my favorite interpretations of Two-Face. I really like Two-Face from Batman the Animated Series, and very often if I think about Two-Face, that's the version that comes to my mind first. Of course, I love the black and white suit, you know, and also, you know, the way they did the scarring on his face, which is so over the top, but it worked for the animated series, and I think it would translate well to a pop figure. And then of course there are other characters from the series that could be represented in a whole new wave of Batman the Animated Series figures as well, because they didn't do characters like the Penguin, they didn't do there's another villain that I was thinking of. Oh, Killer Croc is another one that was big on the series. He was in a lot of episodes. The Ventriloquist is cool as well, you know. So again, there's enough potential there basically for a full other wave based off of this series, and Two-Face would definitely have to be part of it. One of my favorite DC characters lately has actually been Deadman. I like his outfit. It's kind of simple, you know, but it fits him very much because he is basically like a acrobatic type of character, and he actually was an acrobat in his life, and he's like an avenging spirit now. He can possess the bodies of other characters, which puts him into some really awkward situations and, you know, causes some tension as well. But yeah, I like the character's personality, how he is a very grounded character. I did read the original Justice League Dark run of books, and I really did enjoy those. And then his interpretation, the way he was presented in animation as well, I enjoyed that because he was in at least one or a two-part episode of Justice League Unlimited, and then he was also in the Justice League Dark animated movie, which unfortunately put too much focus on Batman and kind of forced Batman into the storyline where I don't think he was needed. I think that Constantine and Deadman were already enough to really be at the forefront of that movie. But yeah, I still like Deadman as a character. I love his accent as well that he uses, and that they use for him in animation, I should say. He has that really strong accent. I think it's a Boston accent if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, he's just a cool character all the way around in my book, and I definitely want to have him represented in my collection in some way. So if Funko doesn't do a Funko Pop, maybe I'll have to go for an action figure of this character. Now moving along here, number 1, Damian Wayne Robin. This is a character that initially kind of annoyed me, and I think that was intentional. The way that he was at first presented, he was kind of meant to be an annoying character because Talia al Ghul basically just kind of dropped him off on Bruce Wayne's doorstep, and said, here's your son to deal with him, basically, because he is a handful. But then again, he is a kid that was raised up by assassins, so he's not going to be a normal kid. There's going to be a lot of struggles there with him because not only is he very precocious, he's also very dangerous. I mean, again, he was raised by assassins, so he can handle himself in a fight. He has, as much skills, if not more even, than Dick Grayson, and I did like when they got paired together, when Dick Grayson had to step up and take on the role of Batman for a while and they were partnered together. That really made me like the character of Damian Wayne even more because he really stepped up to that role of being Robin, and then beyond that he stepped up to being part of the Titans as well. So yeah, this character just grew on me more and more and more, and he became one of my favorite characters, and I definitely want to see him as a Funko Pop. He would definitely have to have his sword with him. I think that would be necessary, and maybe they could do a variant of him with his hood on. That may not be 100% necessary, but it would be nice to see. So yeah, Damian Wayne Robin is at my number 1 most wanted. Now, I am going to tag a couple of other people that I hope will participate in this tag. So Funko Pops and Unicorns, I know for sure she is a DC fan. She does a lot of DC figures reviews and statue reviews and everything. So we'll really be interested to see what she has to say about this. The Simply Incredible podcast, Daryl over there. Daryl, I hope that you're checking this out and that you're willing to do this as well. I know you're another big DC fan, especially a Harley Quinn fan like myself, so would be interested to hear what you have to say about this. And then Pug Love Productions, I know you check out my content on a regular basis, and I'm not sure if you participated in something like this before necessarily, but yeah, I'd like your feedback on this as well. So yeah, hopefully you all will get involved with this. I really look forward to the videos if you do so. And for all of you checking this out, you want to hear from you as well. For one thing, thanks for listening to my ideas here, what I would like to see. But I want to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know which DC Pops you would like to see Funko make, and maybe even, some updates. If there's some older Pops that you would like to see updated as well, let me know about that. I look forward to reading those comments. But yeah, one more time, thank you all so much for checking out this video. Thank you, Robert Kinzel, for tagging me. This was fun to put together, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.